Self-honesty is like an underappreciated necessity on a spiritual path. It's something that I underestimated. I put a lot of value on the big picture, mysticism, a connection with the ultimate. I love poetry and songs, but self-honesty was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay, if we need it, we need it. And I was fortunate enough to be around people who had a higher valuation for it. So when it's like a song that I couldn't appreciate, and then slowly over time, I began to see it as a missing piece in me. If I wanted to get to what I wanted to, the big picture, the mysticism, that I came up short because I could fool myself. I was self-deceptive. And it's like being on a leash where you run full speed, and then suddenly you're like, whoop, back to go. And through some failure and whatnot, I began to go like, okay, well, maybe I need this training. So much of human life, and the pitfall, I believe, is that we look outside of ourselves for what's missing. We don't tend to look inside ourselves for what's missing. And that's where self-honesty is so critical. I think comedians, this is a theory I have, that comedians, they base their jokes really on insightfulness about the human predicament. And in that, you have to know the subtleties. And the shows we love, Friends, Seinfeld, there's just like this clip that I adore in Seinfeld where George Costanza is, he's in a restaurant, he eats, and then he goes up to pay, and so he pays, and there's a tip jar there. And just at the time he's putting his money into the tip jar, the cook turns away, and George knows that he's not going to get the credit for leaving the tip. It'll be an anonymous tip. So he waits for he decides to reach his hand in and pull his tip back out. And the waiter turns around and he thinks he's stealing from the tip jar. But he wanted so badly to get credit for leaving the tip. And it's so funny, because we do that, and I am kind of lit up about finding moments where I catch myself doing that exact same thing, because I could laugh at that sitcom, but to catch yourself in the moment that you're looking for credit, and George Costanza did that. Seinfeld may have written the joke, but do they catch themselves reaching into the tip jar? And I think that power of knowing where you're coming from in the minutia, in small little moments, it's like humorous, and it sounds like kind of a sticky topic, and I believe it is sometimes, but I think if the moments are small enough, it can be light and interesting. And interestingly enough, it extends your leash, as I was talking about, for like the mysticism or the meditation that I think is so cool. You get a funnier, happier life, but also you don't fool yourself as often. So you're more swimming in truth, and that truth is where meditation comes from. Like, you don't have to protect yourself so much, your image. It gets lighter. Everything gets lighter.